Hey guys, Ernie here and welcome to the Paleo Hiker MD channel. There are a lot of lightweight compact canister stoves out there on the market and they vary in price tremendously. I recently picked up what I think is one of the nicest and probably more expensive models, which is the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe. So the question is, comparing the Pocket Rocket Deluxe to other cheaper models, is it worth the money? Stay tuned and we'll find out. So we're going to take a look at 4 different stoves. One is just a generic cheap canister stove you can buy on Amazon or Walmart, whatever it might be. They run $8 to $10, something like that. It's pretty much a no-name brand. Second, we're going to look at the BRS Ultralight Titanium stove. Then we're going to look at the Jetboil Mighty Mo. And lastly, the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe. This is going to be a pretty cool video. I'm going to look at several different things. Of course, first we're going to look at the weight. We're going to look at the form factor so you can see what each one of them looks like. We're going to measure their boil time and fuel efficiencies. And I'm also going to show you the flame pattern both normally and with a little bit of wind thrown in to see how it affects the overall flame pattern. So we're going to go through this pretty quickly, just a little montage here testing everything out. You will notice that I have a new timer and thermometer for my boil tests. And I have noticed in my preliminary testing that 212 is not when the water boils. This thermostat isn't exactly right. It's about 209 or 210 when water boils. So I'm actually going to be counting out to 210 degrees, not 212. Just trying to factor in for not the best thermometer in the world. So first we'll take a look at kind of our generic canister stove. This is the kind that just kind of folds together, okay? This thing flips around, okay? You've seen these all over, like I said, Amazon. I bought this one, I believe, at Walmart. You just flip these little feet out, you twirl this around, and that's going to create the pot stove for you, okay? It does have an integrated Piezo Igniter that you can see right here. I have about 3 of these. They all weigh basically the exact same, which is 97 grams. And like I said, you can pick these up for somewhere around $8 to $12, pretty much anywhere you can buy outdoor supplies. Now this is the BRS Titanium Ultralight Stove. I've used this on multiple backpacking trips and I've shown it on several videos before. The weight is amazing. It's only 26 grams for this entire stove. Okay, so it's super lightweight. And the cost is also very good, $16.99 last I checked on Amazon. Next, we'll step up to a little bit nicer stove. This is the Jetboil Mighty Mo. It folds up just like this. You just fold out, very simple. Very easy to use. This weighs 96 grams, does have an integrated Piezo Igniter that works very, very well. It has a pressure regulator, which is a step up from the cheaper models, and it costs anywhere from $45 to $49 depending on where you find it. Has a nice big base on it, very nice stove. I've used it quite a bit over time. And lastly is my newest stove. This is the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe. These legs basically articulate 2 ways. They flip and then they also flip down, so you kind of twist them. And they also go side to side. Nice big base, all right? The burner is nice and large. It has a nice lip here, which should help with withstanding the wind pretty well. It also has a pressure regulator built in and a built-in Piezo Igniter, which is actually really nice, just this little snapper right there, okay? This weighs in at 83 grams, so kind of medium weight when it comes to these 4 particular stoves, but it is the most expensive at $69.95, basically $70. a look at each one of these and review what we found. Once again, the generic stove cost between $8 and $12, and it weighed right at 97 grams. You got 2 cups of water to a boil in 3 minutes and 37 seconds, and it ended up using 9 grams of fuel to do so. The flame itself during the flame test is a little bit dodgy. It doesn't create as consistent or as pretty a flame as the other ones do, and it definitely suffered during the wind test. On top of that, the quality of these is not very good. I own about 3 or 4 of these, and actually the one that I pulled out to do this video with was broken. I couldn't twirl this thing around anymore. So they're great for like emergency kits if it's something you're never going to use, but if you're going to use this day by day, I would not get one of these. Now my prior go-to stove was this little BRS Ultralight titanium stove. It cost about $16, $17, and it weighs an amazing 26 grams. It got 2 cups of water to a boil in 3 minutes and 26 seconds, but did use 12 grams of fuel to do so. The flame pattern again shows pretty decent flame. It's a very small area, so it's a little bitty burner, so it doesn't create as large of an actual flame. And that's probably the reason that it suffers, not only compared to the other two, but also in the wind test. In fact, the reason that I ended up getting the Pocket Rocket Deluxe in the first place, and the reason we're doing this video, is because this particular stove suffered so badly in the wind. Now the Jetboil Mighty Mo is definitely a very nice stove. It has a lot of the things we talked about that make the Pocket Rocket Deluxe different, including a pressure regulator that allows you to adjust the flame very nicely. It's kind of intermediate in price, somewhere between $45 and $50 depending on where you find it and if you can get it on sale. It weighs in at 96 grams, so very similar to the generic stove. It got 2 cups of water to a boil in a very nice 2 minutes 37 seconds, and it used 9 grams of fuel to do so. In the flame pattern analysis, it has a very nice flame without wind. It's a larger footprint than the BRS, for example, or even the generic stove, but it did suffer a little bit from the wind, and that's because of the design, but we'll talk about that with the Pocket Rocket Deluxe. Overall, though, for the money, a very good performance in my opinion. So now for the most expensive, which is my newest stove, MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe. It costs the most at $70, and weighs kind of intermediate at 83 grams. It was the fastest, bringing water to a boil in 2 minutes and 11 seconds, and it also used 9 grams of fuel to do that. One of the places it really stands out is in the flame test. When you look at the flame without wind, it's very strong, it's a very large footprint as far as the burner itself, and it creates a tremendous amount of heat. It has a small little lip that I showed you guys earlier that kind of protects the inside burner from the wind, and you can definitely see that in the wind footage. So basically in this test, the more money you spend, the less time you wait for water to boil. So what stands out for me during this test? Well, a couple of things. First of all, the quality of all these stoves. The cheaper stoves, without question, including the BRS and the generic stove, do not feel nearly as well made in the hand as the others do. Kind of constantly worried you're going to break them. And in fact, like I said, the generic has broken on me several times. The BRS is super light, and that means that it's not really strong. It works just fine, especially when there's no wind. But if you're looking for a more robust stove, I'd stay away from the BRS. It is an excellent ultralight stove though. Keep in mind that if you're going to carry it, you have to carry some kind of wind protection, or you're really going to have a hard time with any kind of wind whatsoever. It also uses the most amount of fuel, something to think about. For years I thought that all canister stoves were pretty much the same. Some of them were more expensive, some of them were less, and there really wasn't a major difference. And I've learned a lot over the years, and that's the reason that I'm really excited about this Pocket Rocket Deluxe. Again, a couple of things to look at are just the general quality of construction and how robust they feel in the hand. Generally, if they feel cheap, they probably are going to break more. Wind resistance is a big deal, and you definitely pay for what you get in this situation. I did a recent test and video on the Pocket Rocket Deluxe versus the Jetboil Flash system, and I put them to the test against pretty strong winds. The MSR only took 20 seconds longer to get 2 cups of water to a boil in a really strong wind. That's a big deal. I guarantee you that the other three here, especially the BRS and the generic stove, are really going to suffer in the wind. The Mighty Mo will probably do decently, but for $20 more, I'd go with the Deluxe. Another thing is the Piezo Igniters. Now the BRS of course doesn't have one. The generic Piezo Igniter tends to go out very quickly. That's not really surprising. Both the Mighty Mo and the MSR have very good Piezo Igniters. I've had the Mighty Mo now for about 1.5 years, never had any problems with it, and I really don't expect any problems with the MSR. If I do though, I'll let y'all know. The last couple of things to talk about first is pot stability. What was interesting is the Mighty Mo actually had a hard time. I use the Stanley Adventure because I'm able to put the top of the Jetboil, which has a little hole in the middle, and that lets me drop my probe right in there and it keeps it suspended right in the water, so it works really well. I had to really balance on the Jetboil Mighty Mo. The generic stove's a little bit unconfident, but it does hold it just fine. The BRS seems pretty rock solid, and obviously the MSR is really good. I would definitely not use the Adventure Cup with the Mighty Mo. I need something that with a straight sides. The cheap ones definitely don't keep you as confident when you put that pot on top. And lastly is the fine control of the flame. The generic one is basically on or off. It doesn't have any flame control at all. The BRS is the same way. It doesn't have those pressure regulators. The Mighty Mo and the MSR both have pressure regulators. I did some testing. The MSR is definitely more adjustable. I can get it down really low compared to the Mighty Mo, but the Mighty Mo does have very good control. It's just that the MSR steps it up a notch. So what are my conclusions from this test? Well, the results speak for themselves. You pay for what you get. If you're looking for a stove for a bug out bag or an emergency kit, whatever it might be, any of these cheap stoves will work just fine. If you're looking for a super ultralight stove, the BRS is functional. It's a little bit less efficient and just very susceptible to the wind, but if you want to keep really light, it's your best bet. I think if you're serious about hiking and getting outside, you want to invest in a nicer stove. I'm glad I did now. The Mighty Mo has worked well for me over the last couple years, but I do think that the Pocket Rocket Deluxe is a step up, and I'm really glad I got it. It's a little bit lighter than the Mighty Mo and is much better in windy conditions. I don't think you need a windscreen with it, as long as you get some stuff around it. Usually I'll put a rock or two around it just to keep it nice and safe, but I don't think I'll have any problems with the wind. This is not a sponsored video. I bought the Pocket Rocket Deluxe on my own, but I can tell you that I highly recommend it. I think it is better than the original Pocket Rocket. I do not own a Pocket Rocket, but I have used both the Pocket Rocket and the Pocket Rocket 2 that friends own. And although they both work very, very well, I think the wind resistance of this Deluxe and the amount of heat that comes out of it is far superior. If you want to get out there and don't want to wait for water to boil too long, go ahead and buy a Pocket Rocket Deluxe. You can get a Mighty Mo for $20 cheaper. It's 20 bucks. Go with the wind resistance. Hope you like this video, guys. I love these videos. They're a lot of fun for me to put together. I love checking out different things. I think a lot of people enjoy stuff like this, and certainly I do, and that's why I put them out. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them down below. If you like the video, please do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up down below. Our YouTube channels grow from likes, comments, thumbs up, all that stuff. So smash that like button down below. If you like the video and want to watch more like this, hit the subscription button if you're not already subscribed. If you're feeling crazy, go ahead, hit that ding dong bell. You'll be the first to know whenever I release a video. All kinds of videos planned, guys. Loving these stove videos, doing some dry baking, all kinds of cool stuff. Work this morning, I'm on call, and I'm off this afternoon, so I have to work again tomorrow. It's a rainy Saturday here in Louisiana. Hope everyone is well out wherever you are, and stay tuned for more videos here on Paleo Hiker MD.